You didn't mute us.
So yeah, speaker view is up. And I need to mute everyone. That's right. So we are ready to practice yoga. And I've decided to set a theme for the practice this morning. And that theme is length. So you hear me a lot talk about, get long, take up space, um, really get tall. But in all of our yoga practices, we are really striving for as much length as we can get in the body as we move from pose to pose. And that length as we reach and as we stretch and as we lift really helps with the strength and also the flexibility in the body. And also it actually helps with the balance. If as your strength improves, then you have better ability to control your balance in the body as as you move or try to stand on one leg or whatever it might be. So the length is the concept I want to convey. So let's all just, I'll move back to the mat and let's settle in, get very comfortable. You can lie down if you choose. Yeah, okay. So everyone take a deep breath in and then open the mouth and let it go. One more long, deep inhale. And sigh it out. And as you breathe, just notice what you feel. And for a few breaths here, just take the inhales into the belly. Just fill the belly and then exhale. And now begin to move the inhale from the belly to the middle chest and into the upper chest. And Ujjayi breath now as you exhale. Be lifted here. Feel the sitting bones on the mat or on the block if you happen to be sitting, or feel the back, the hips on the mat, and the top of the head is reaching away from the hips. Just notice and enjoy this sensations of deep breathing. Good. Gently open the eyes here now. And if you want, you can. As a matter of fact, let's all just come down to our backs. So get yourself situated on your mat with the palms down by your sides, if that's okay for your shoulders and your wrists and arms. And the feet are about hip width apart. You feel the heels on the mat. You feel the hip bones on the mat. And we'll just start by pressing out through the heels as you reach back toward the back of the mat with the top of the head. So the legs are active here. You can activate the arms. But try to keep the face and the neck relaxed. So you're not really, really rigid, but you're tight. You've got a little tightness in the limbs. And now just breathe. One more breath. Good. Now just release. Release all the tension. Turn the palms up toward the ceiling. We'll do that one more time. So now point the toes up toward the ceiling. Roll those palms down to the mat. Press out through the heels. And then gently stretch up through the spine. Feel the shoulder blades on the mat. Feel the hip bones on the mat. Notice the lower spine is slightly off the mat. Breathe. One more breath. And release, let the toes splay out, turn the palms up toward the ceiling. Good, we'll go through some warm up. So bring the right knee into the chest and hug it in. Interlace the fingers if you choose, front of the knee. Circle the toes on the right foot. And then circle in the other direction. Point the toes and flex, and point and flex, and point and flex. Good. Take the right foot straight up to the ceiling. And you're pressing up through the heel. Now, some folks may not get that foot or that leg vertical, but that's okay. If it's more comfortable for you, you can bring your right foot in toward the hip, the left foot up toward the hip, I'm sorry. Good. And now point the toe and just gently circle the right leg. And then circle that leg the other direction. And one more breath, pressing the heel up toward the ceiling, and then slower the right leg down. 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. And bring the left knee into the chest, hugging it in. Again, the right leg can be straight or the right foot flat on the floor. Circle the left toes. And then go the other way. And point the toes and flex, and point and flex, and point and flex. Take the left foot straight up. And now you're strong through that lifted left leg. And if you choose, you can press out through the heel of the right foot, or again, you can bring the right foot in. And breathe. Point the toes, circle the left leg. And then go the other way. Press up through the heel and strong through that leg as you lower. 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. So bring both feet in toward the hips or to the hips, knees point straight up to the ceiling. Take the arms wide and just let the knees drop over to the right. Turn your gaze to the left. And just release here. Notice the sensations in the middle of the body, in the belly, in the hips. And bring the knees back up, and knees drop left, gaze to the right. And bring the knees back up to the ceiling. Legs are long now. Bring the arms behind you over the head and grasp the left wrist with the right hand and just gently tug on that left wrist to find opening along the left side of the body, the left ribs. And come back to center. Just gently grasp the right wrist with the left hand and arc over to the left. The hip bones stay on the mat, the shoulder blades stay on the mat, and you're just gently finding opening all down the right side of the body or the right side of the torso. And then release. Good. All right. So bring the arms back down. Bring both feet back into the hips and bring both knees into the chest and just rock side to side. You take both feet straight up to the ceiling, pressing up through the heels. Again, if they don't go vertical, that's okay. Try not to round the lower back. In other words, don't press the low back into the mat. Keep the hip bones on the mat, just the legs are straight and strong. And you're breathing. And now bend the knees and bring the feet down. Take the soles of the feet together, the knees wide, into reclining cobbler pose. Bring the knees back up to the ceiling. Bring the hands behind the knees and then just gently rock up and back, rocking back to the shoulder blades and then up again. Drop back, roll up, and one more time, and then come up to seated. Good, a gentle forward fold here, seated. So bend the knees, and if you want, you can put a pillow or a rolled up blanket or something under your knees to keep that bend in those knees. Lift up tall. Again, now finding length through the spine, up through the top of the head, and then take the belly toward the toes. If you have a strap, you can bring the strap around the front of the feet, and then gently take the heart forward. Move the heels away or draw them back toward you to get that nice sensation in the hamstrings. But don't round the spine, the lower spine here. When we do forward folds, we don't want a pronounced bend in the low spine. That's why we bend the knees, and that's why we move forward or toward the toes to put the belly on the thighs so the back, the low back isn't rounded. This method of doing a forward fold is great for folks that have limited motion in the spine because of osteoporosis or osteopenia. So now just breathe. And if your belly's on the thighs and you choose to do it, you can release the top of the head or the head down toward the mat. But again, we don't want to bend the low spine. We might get a little rounding in the upper spine, but not a lot of rounding in the lower spine. So you're really pressing the belly down to the thighs. So I call this hinging at the hips, not at the belly. And inhale and come back up. Good. Come over into table. So bring the feet around into your table. With the fingers spread, gripping the mat with the fingertips. And we'll do that moving cat-cow. So as you inhale, take the gaze straight ahead, bring the elbows in, and as you exhale, round and bring the hips back toward the heels. Elbows down, coming forward and up, gazing ahead, gently here, a little rounding, and now you can get that little bit of stretch in the low back as we round up. But be gentle, not really pronounced with that stretch. But it does feel good to get a little bit of a stretch in the low back. Exhaling back and inhaling up. And just one more. Exhale. Hips come back. And inhaling, coming back up into table. Extend the right leg with the toes down on the mat. Let the right hip drop, and then just look underneath that right shoulder and see if you can find that length from the shoulder to the heel of the right foot as you gently press back. And bring the right knee up beside the left. Extend the left leg with the toes down on the mat. let the left hip drop. Again, check to see that you've got a nice long line between the shoulder and the heel. And now bring the left knee up beside the right. Just move a little bit here. And curl the toes and just lift the hips into downward dog. And if the head doesn't go down there between the arms, that's okay. And what you're working for here is to gently and gradually work that head a little bit lower between the arms. So the line is between the fingertips or the palms of the hands and the hips, right? The knees are bent. And you're working one heel and the other heel toward the mat. Good. Now step the feet toward the hands, or bring the hands back toward the feet if that's easier for you. And come up into half lift. And now the line is between the top of the head and the hips. Gaze is straight down. Shoulder blades are on the back. And again, you're gradually straightening the legs, pressing the heels down toward or into the mat. Bend the knees. Again, the same idea. Put the belly down on the thighs. The heart moves toward the toes. And then if you choose, you can just let the top of the head drop toward the mat. Not a lot of rounding in the low back. Hands can be on a block here, fingertips on the mat. Just try to avoid that really pronounced rounding in the low back. Press into the mat with the feet, bend the knees, and round up. Good. And draw the shoulders back, take the arms wide, and lift the hands up toward the ceiling, and take the gaze up there if it's good for you. Palms can come together or not. And exhale into mountain pose. Okay, good. So in our mountain pose, obviously we're moving into a straight line posture from the heels, through the hips, through the shoulders, all the way up through the top of the head. So you're stacking the body. And the hips roll under, but only slightly. So we're not sway back here. We're not really pressing hard to push the belly forward and the shoulders back. We're just stacking things. We're just putting the head over the shoulders, over the hips, and over the heels. Good. All right. So inhale here and bring the hands up over the head. And if it works for your body, interlock the fingers and steeple the fingers. It's called steeple mudra, with the index fingers pointing straight up. And now we're going to find opening, but we're still working here on length from the heels to the tips of those index fingers. And now take the hands over to the right and arc right. Look underneath that left arm toward the ceiling. And now the hands up and bring the hands to the left. Hips shift right. And bring the hands back to the ceiling. Turn the gaze up there if it's comfortable. Reach and get long. And exhale and bring the hands down. Yeah, good. And just yoga flop, just release here. Ragdoll. We're dual spinal flow, and again, we'll incorporate all of those things about length as we move through this spinal flow. So we start in our mountain pose, stacking everything up, and then the hands and arms become active. And inhale, the hands up. Exhaling, take the right arm down, strong and straight, arcing right. Inhale the right hand up. Left arm down. Left arm is active, right arm is active, reaching. Length through both arms. Inhale the left hand up. Exhale, take up as much space as you can as you reach wide, turn the palms up. Twist to your right. Inhaling, come back up. And as you exhale, take that twist to the left again, as much space as possible. And inhale up. Exhale, bringing the hands through the heart, hinging at the hips, bending those knees. Heart toward the toes, belly on the thighs. Let the head release. And now really bending the knees, hands come out in front, fingers reach forward, press into the mat, coming up. Exhaling, arcing back gently. Inhaling back up. And exhale, mountain pose. Ah, yes, beautiful. All right. So let's move into some wide-legged, well, actually, yeah, let's move from warrior one, and then we'll do triangle warrior two, some of these side-facing postures. So step back with the right foot, 2 lanes for the feet on warrior one for stability, and then bend the left knee, and see if you can press back through the outside edge of the right foot or press down on the heel of the right foot. Now I'd like you to feel where those hip bones are, the top of the hips. So take your thumbs and just find those 2 hip bones in the front of the body. Notice that those hip bones are not cranked forward toward the top of the mat. They're angled back slightly. And that's a good thing. You don't want to put a lot of pressure on the SI joints when you're doing warriors or triangles or side angles or any of those types of things where you've got one leg forward, the other leg back. So you got an angle going on with the tops of the hips, the hip bones. You can see the big toe in the inside of the left knee, strong through the back leg. And now take the hands out in front and up into warrior one. Now we'll do a little bit of a flow here. So as you exhale, take the hands forward, hinge forward at the hips, and take the hands back. Stay long through the spine as you reach back through the fingers and arms. It's not airplane. It's a different form of warrior. Again, you feel the belly touching the thigh, if that works for you. And now bring the hands down, stay long through the spine as the hands come out in front and back up. Warrior One. And bring the hands down, prayer to the heart. Come up on those back toes and just step the right foot up. Good. Take a step back or wherever and let it go. And now step back with the left foot, 2 lanes for the feet. Find that stance that's comfortable, reasonably good for you. And then bend the knee. Remember, we're moving to sensation, not pain. You don't have to do anything I ask you to do, just breathe. And you can rest whenever you want. So here we are, we find our Warrior One stance. We notice the hip bones are at that angle that works for us, pressing back through the outside edge of that left foot. Coming up tall, activate the arms into Warrior One. And now the hands come forward, the body hinges at the hips, bringing the belly toward that front thigh. Hands go straight back, gaze is straight down, pressing the belly toward the mat, long from the top of the head to the tailbone. Fingers and arms reaching. And now as you inhale, stay long through the spine as the hands come forward and up. And bring the hands of prayer to the heart, onto the back toes, stepping forward. Beautiful, okay. So now step back with the right foot. We'll move to some of our wide-legged postures. And there's something that I've been saying that I want to kind of clarify for you. So I've been saying when we move into triangle or Warrior Two, that we line up the hips and the shoulders and the heels in a single flat plane. But I want to caution you about this because it really is not that good for you when you bend this knee, that front knee. Again, feel those hip bones. Those hip bones do not stay parallel to the edge of the mat. The hips actually turn a little bit toward the top of the mat, but only just a little bit. But that's a good thing, because if you force those hips to stay in line with the edge of the mat, that puts additional pressure on the SI joint, which you don't want to do. So in our stance for Warrior Two, we see the big toe to the inside of the knee. We're strong through the back leg, still pressing down through the outside edge of that foot or the heel of that foot. The hips are slightly cocked toward the top of the mat. And then we lift the arms, keep the shoulders down, and turn the gaze toward the middle finger in the left hand. This should feel strong. It should feel stable. And you should have no discomfort in the hips. One more breath. Now bring the back hand down to the back leg, turn the left palm up, and now arcing back, but staying long through that lifted arm. And back to the warrior two. And now bring the left elbow down to the left knee, let the hips drop, lift the right arm up to the ceiling, and now look down the front of the body toward the back foot. See if you can get a line between the shoulder and the outside edge of the foot. Side angle. And coming back up, warrior two. Keeping that left knee out to the left. And bring the hands to the hips. And now straighten the left leg. The heels are in line here, but the hips are still at that little bit of a shift toward the top of the mat. Extend the left arm. With a bend in that left knee, reach forward, and then come into your triangle. Keeping the right shoulder back, but not being too worried about this right hip. And then lift the arm up to the ceiling. And inhaling up, hands to the hips. Turn the hips toward the top of the mat, up on the back toes, and just step to the top of the mat. Good, step it out. This is gentle yoga, but I don't know about you, but I'm working. It's work for me. And take a step back now with the left foot. And the heels are in line. And again, noticing the tops of those hip bones, angled a little bit. Bend the right knee, keeping the right knee out to the right, strong through the back leg. Trying or working to keep the shoulders in line with the edge of the mat, but not the hips. And then into warrior two. And bring the back hand down, lift the right palm toward the ceiling. Staying low in the warrior. And coming back to warrior two. And bring the right elbow down to the right knee. Let the hips drop. Checking that line, shoulder to the outside edge of the back foot. Left hand lifts. Rolling the right ribs under. Side angle. And back up to your warrior two. And bring the hands to the hips, straighten the front leg. Take a breath. Extending the right arm straight out. and hinge. Feel those hips move toward the back of the mat as you reach. The hand comes down wherever it comes down. Rolling the right ribs under it again, draw the left shoulder back into triangle. No sensation behind the knee. And inhale up, hands to hips, onto the back toes, stepping forward. Ah, good. All right. So we'll do tree here. I like to start with my hands on my hips, finding my spot out on the floor. And we'll move to the weight to the left foot. Kickstand the right foot, turning that knee out. And when you're ready, or if you choose, you can leave the toes down there, bring the foot up to the calf or up to the thigh. Whoops. Up to the thigh. Wherever you want it to be. And then you can take the hands where you want. And bring the knee forward and down. Good. And move the weight toward the right foot, onto the right foot. Focus. Turn the left knee out. And then bring the left foot where you want it to be. And the knee forward and down. Good. All right. So let's move down to the mat, finish up, pressing down with the feet. Again, that line from the heels to the top of the head. Inhale the hands up. And exhale into a forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And then exhale, step the feet back into plank. And the knees can always come down. Take a breath. And then bend the elbows, coming down to your belly. Release the toes, inhale to cobra. Pressing the toes down into the mat. Try and relax the buttocks here. Good. And now bring the knees down, come up to table. And bring the feet around to the front. Bring that feet halfway in. And in our Navasana variations here, we try to keep the spine long. We don't want to be hunched over as we extend one leg and the other. We really want to be lifted. So extend the right leg with the left foot on the floor, staying long through the spine. And then bring the right foot down, extend the left leg. And bring the left foot down. Lift both feet off with bent knees. Again, staying long and tall. You can extend the legs or straighten the legs if you choose. And then bring both feet down, come into cobbler with the soles of the feet together. Inhaling up, bring the knees up to the ceiling. Bring the hands behind the knees and come down to your backs. Take the feet mat width with the knees bent, arms wide, and let the knees fall over to the right. Turn the gaze left. And you can bring the right ankle onto the left knee. Purely an option. Release the ankle, bring the knees back up to the ceiling, feet mat width, let the knees go left, turn the gaze right. Stay right here, or if you choose, you can bring the left ankle onto the right knee. And release the ankle. Bring the knees back up to the ceiling. So if you've got a strap handy, find your strap. You can use a belt or a tie, a necktie, or a dish towel, anything you got. And bring the right knee into the chest and put the belt or the strap on your left foot, the front of the foot of the heel. And then lift the right foot up to the ceiling. And I like to extend my left leg, but that's, whatever works best for you. Keep a little bend in the right knee, but feel the muscles tight in the right thigh. The quads are tight. And now with the strap in both hands, gently draw the right leg toward the back of the mat. Then ease, exhaling. Inhaling, draw the leg toward the back of the mat. Exhale, release. Inhaling, draw the right leg toward the back of the mat. And ease and release. Keep this right leg strong. Bring the strap into the right hand. Extend the left leg. Really really tighten that right leg as you extend it out to the right. We don't want it hanging out there causing SI joint problems, okay? Just ease that leg, that foot out to the right, keeping the hip bones on the mat and the shoulder blades on the mat. And bring the right leg back up to the ceiling. Switch hands, same idea, strong through that right leg as you roll onto the left hip. Taking that foot and leg to the left. The shoulder blades stay on the mat. You can take your gaze to the right if you choose. And bring the leg back up to the ceiling. Both hands on the strap. Again, just gently draw the leg and the foot toward the back of the mat. As much bend in that knee as you need. And then ease the strap. Bend that right knee. Keep the bottom of the foot straight up to the ceiling, bringing the right knee toward the right shoulder, and then reach up there with the right hand, and you may get there, you may not. It's okay. Grabbing the outside edge of that right foot with the right hand. Maybe more comfortable with the left foot in toward the hip. Good. Release the strap from the foot, and then take the right foot straight up, strong through the leg, and then slowly lower that leg down. 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Good. All right. Bring the left knee into the chest, or actually just lay here, palms up, toes out, and then just notice what you feel in the right hip, in the right leg. Bring the left knee into the chest and put the strap on the left foot. That foot straight up to the ceiling. And both hands on the strap. And gently draw the right foot, right leg toward the back of the mat. Exhale, release. Inhale, gently draw the foot back. Exhale, release. Inhaling the right foot back. And exhale, release. Strap in the left hand. Extend the right arm. And again, strong through the left leg as you let it gently move out to the left. And that left thigh is outer rotated, so the toes are pointing toward the back of the mat. And And bring the foot back up to the ceiling. Transfer the strap to the right hand. Strong through the left leg. And come on to the right hip. Letting that leg move gently to the right. And now that thigh is inner rotated, toes still pointing to the back of the mat. And bring the left foot back up to the ceiling. Gently draw the foot and the leg toward the back of the mat. Breathing. Ease, bend the left knee into half happy baby. Extend the left foot up to the ceiling. And slowly lower the left leg down. 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. Bring both feet in to the hips. Fingers are just touching the heels. If you can get to there, that's great. If not, that's okay too. Palms down beside you, and then press with the feet into some gentle bridges here. Inhaling as you lift the hips, exhaling as you lower. Pressing with the feet, inhale and lift. Exhale and lower. Inhaling, lift. And exhale, lower. Just a breath or two here in figure 4. So bring the left ankle onto the right knee. Bring the hands through. Flex the left foot. Gently take the foot and the knee a little to your right. 2 deep breaths. Good. Bring the right foot down, release the ankle. Take a breath here. Bring the right ankle onto the left knee, coming through for figure 4. Everything a little bit to the left. 2 deep breaths. Good. Bring the left foot down, release the ankle. Arms wide. Then you can have the feet hip width or mat width, or the feet and knees together. And just gentle twists here now. Just let the knees fall right, turn the gaze left. And then the knees to the ceiling, knees left, gaze right. And the knees back to the ceiling. Legs are long, arms behind, 1 full body stretch as you inhale deeply, pressing through the heels, reaching through the fingers. Take up as much space as you can. And exhaling, Come into your yoga resting pose, whatever that is for you. Where you can just release and settle completely into the earth. Fingers and toes, wrists and elbows, let the breath deepen. Stretch. Coming up to a seated posture. Ah, yes. So thank you for practicing today. Namaste.
Hey, Rick,